Gymnastics, it is a foundation sport. It's a difficult sport and a beautiful one, but you know, Andy, last year was a gut-wrenching one for gymnastics internationally in North America and particularly for women.
So sad, the news that we heard, especially since the Rio 2016 Games. We were wowed by the female gymnasts, and so much to be proud of as well. Ellie Black finishing 5th in all-around, the highest ever finish by a Canadian woman at an Olympic Games. And then the American women just dominating and picking up the golds that they picked up. And then the ugly news, the ugly truth of sexual assault, those who committed it and those who covered it up.
For a sport so filled with soaring performances and exceptional feats of grace and power, gymnastics has been in the headlines for a different reason lately, with a wave of sexual abuse charges and the uncovering of mismanagement by its top officials. Larry Nassar, United States of America gymnastics national team doctor, was named in hundreds of lawsuits alleging sexual abuse, including those of several Olympians and national team members, which resulted in sentences totaling over 150 years in prison. In March 2017, former USAG President Steve Penny resigned when it was discovered he knew about the allegations against Nassar. He has since been indicted by a grand jury for tampering with evidence related to the case and currently awaits trial. His successor, Carrie Perry, was asked to resign after 9 months of inaction. And in October, just 3 weeks ago, Mary Bono, who was appointed as interim president of the organization, resigned after just 4 days at the helm amidst outrage stemming from a controversial anti-Nike tweet. Canadian gymnastics coaches have also been implicated in sexual abuse scandals. Former women's national coach Dave Brubaker has gone to trial charged with multiple abuse offenses over an 8-year period. Ottawa's Scott McFarlane, who coached in Mississauga, was also charged, while Michelle Arsenault, based in Edmonton, faces a trial set for next year surrounding allegations that occurred in Quebec in the 80s and 90s. All three have been suspended by Gymnastics Canada. One of the gymnasts who spoke out, the great American Simone Biles. She too was assaulted by Larry Nassar. Biles and her American teammates won the Arthur Ashe Courage Award in light of the revelations. You know, Andy, Biles is a fantastic gymnast. 3 times the all-around champion at Worlds. No female gymnast has ever done that. And she won 4 gold medals at the Olympics in Rio. Simone Biles is back for more in Doha.
And by the way, before the World Championship, she went to the hospital with stomach pains, thought she had appendicitis. Turns out they're kidney stones. She said, no big deal. I'll have them removed after the competition. The Canadians are led by Ellie Black. She's the 2015 Pan American Games and Commonwealth Games 2018 champion in all-around. And then she picked up her first World Championship medal last year. That happened to be a silver in this very event, the all-around.
The all-around is a very difficult competition. 4 events for the women: the vault, the uneven bars, the balance beam, and the floor exercise. You have to be great across all 4 in order to win the championship. Let's go out to the Aspire Dome in Doha, the World Championships, as called by Brenda Irving and the Olympic champion, Kyle Schufelt.
Scott and Andy, today we are watching this exciting women's all-around competition. 24 women have advanced to the final, and the gymnasts are going to compete on 4 apparatus today, Kyle.
That's right, Brenda. They're going to go vault, uneven bars, balance beam, and floor exercise. There's 2 scores that you're going to be looking for each today: the difficulty and the execution. And
2 Canadians here. Ellie Black, as Scott and Andy mentioned, and Brooklyn Moores of Canada. Now here is Mai Murakami, the 3-time Japanese national champion. And at last year's World Championships in Montreal, she was the top place qualifier with the highest all-around score, but faltered in the final and finished 4th, just off the podium.
It was heartbreaking to see that happen in Montreal, but at this World Championship, she has looked wonderful. The leader of this Japanese team, she says she is so excited about those Tokyo Olympics on the horizon. Performs a Yurchenko-style vault, round off onto the board, and a double twist off. She's great across all 4 pieces of apparatus, and she's going to end the competition today on the floor exercise, which is her best. She's the world champion there.
You know, it's funny, but Japan has never won a world all-around medal before.
Hard to believe, hey? And I think this young lady is the one that has the best shot for this Japanese team. She's got great form, great repulsion off of that vaulting table. Look at the leg form in the air. Those legs are glued together. And the way she lands with her chest nice and high up, that's exactly what the judges want to see. The directional line right down the middle, she is on fire.
Well, a great vault score would be around 14.5 points.
There's two scores that we're going to kind of throw here. A good score, a great score, and then there's a Simone Biles score.
Which is right off the charts because Simone is capable of scores in excess of 15 points, and that's a great score of about 14.5 points for Mai Murakami. Up next, Morgan Hurd. The top 8 gymnasts from qualification are on this apparatus. That's where they start, including Ellie Black. And she loves Harry Potter, and author J.K. Rowling called her a superhero with glasses.
Well, she is a real-life superhero with glasses. World champion from last year. That was a surprise victory for her, and she's just continued to gain momentum throughout this past year. This young lady has missed consistency, going up first for the Americans in the team final quite often. She's very reliable, trustworthy, and confident.
So many people have stopped me and asked, why does she wear glasses? Because none of the other gymnasts do.
Well, it's quite matter of fact. She said that contact lenses are a pain in her butt, and she's afraid that she's gonna get something wrong with them during the competition. And so she trusts the glasses, and they work for her. And I think it's really made her stand out in the international community of gymnastics.
Next, on the floor, representing
14.6. Well, Scott and Andy were saying earlier, Simone Biles suffered a little bit of a problem prior to qualification, and this was the Instagram that she sent out, just talking about that she was diagnosed with a kidney stone too large to pass on her own, and that by 1 a.m. the day of her competition, she checked herself out of the hospital saying, I gotta go, I have to go compete.
Well, that kidney stone's been dubbed the Doha Pearl here at these World Championships. The World Championships didn't feel right last year without Simone Biles there. And she is back, and she looks better than ever. Look at this vault, it's new. Oh, she's down. That's the first time I have ever seen Simone Biles fall on vaulting competition.
And that degree of difficulty, though, Kyle, on that vault, that's the difference.
Yeah, you can see in the corner of the screen the 6.4. So this vault that she's doing, she's the only one in the world who does this. She actually debuted it in the qualifications. It's called the Biles. A half turn on, a front flip with a double twist, and she just didn't have the full rotation. Oh, she is going to be very disappointed with that. But look at the dynamics in this. There's so much happening. She just didn't quite get the block off of that table.
Now, for a lot of...
But that difficulty is going to help her score, Brenda. That's 6.4. Her maximum score on this is a 16.4. The executions out of the 10. The difficulty is a 6.4. So she actually has a full point lead ahead of the rest of the field just starting on this vault. That fall there will be 1 point off. So 14.533, low, about a point lower than what she can or is capable of scoring on this event.
So that's going to hurt. And there is Halifax gymnast Ellie Black, who rocked the World Championships last year, winning a silver medal in the all-around competition. Can she reach the podium again? Well, we'll see her on one of her favorite events next when Road to the Olympic Games continues.
We're back at the Gymnastics World Championships from Doha, featuring the apparatus finals. 4 Canadian women, including Ellie Black, are contending for medals. Right now, back to Brenda and Kyle and the action in Doha, the all-arounds.
Scott, no question, Doha is certainly one of the Gulf's most dynamic cities, and this week it plays host to the most important artistic gymnastics event of the year, the World Championships. And here in the all-around competition is Canada's own Ellie Black, who you may remember won silver in the women's all-around at last year's World Championships in Montreal.
She qualified 6th into this final, is in the top group, starting on vault. And a great way to start. What momentum this young woman has had since those Montreal World Championships, winning the Commonwealth Games this March. She just continues to improve. And she is the quintessential leader of this Canadian women's team. Very powerful, excellent landing there on the vault. And what Ellie's superpower is her competitive mindset. She gets better in the competitions. She fights for it.
And we're also going to see her in the vault final. So this, one of the specialties of hers, along with beam. We're getting a high five from Simone Biles.
Ellie has been on the international scene since the 2012 Olympics. And it's 2018, so she is very experienced. She's a veteran competitor.
Good score.
That'll keep her right in the mix after this first apparatus.
You have to remember she's 23 years old. There was a time when you would never see a gymnast still competing at that age. Well, things have certainly come together for this woman, Angelina Melnikova. She really has newfound consistency. She won the silver medal at this year's European Championships and qualified to today's all-around in 5th.
She does panic sometimes. You saw in the landing a few hops there. That she'll settle in a little bit more throughout this next few years, but she's been competing a lot this year, and I think that's played a big role in her confidence and consistency.
Right, because she's been known for her nerves.
And this is a great example of those nerves on the landing. Hop, hop, and a little hop to turn to the judges. We want to see her settle into those landings and take an extra second. There's some scrappy form. The legs are a bit crossed, but she is Russia's best all-around athlete. Says she's very inspired by Aliya Mustafina, who is back at this World Championships after having a daughter, leading the Russian team.
Angelina had a disastrous performance at the 2016 Rio Olympics, not qualifying to any individual finals, falling on both beam and on floor.
Her resume through this year is looking the best. She's got a lot of consistency. But you see the execution score, 8.766, a bit lower than the others because of those hops on the landing.
Nina Derval won Belgium's first ever World Championship medal last year in Montreal. She won a bronze on bars, and today she qualified to this all-around final in 4th place.
Take a look at that difficulty value, 4.6. A simpler vault compared to the rest of the world. The full twisting version of the Yurchenko.
And she's quite tall for a gymnast at 5'6", and this gives her a different look, a different feel than some of the shorter competitors.
Her best event, her signature event, is the uneven bars. She is so good there because of those long lines, but she does lack a bit of that natural power and that athleticism that you see from someone like Simone Biles, who's more compact, but she makes the best of it there. What this young woman is the best at in this competition is the execution side of things. Not pushing the difficulty, but getting great high execution scores.
And you see that lower score, under 14 points for Nina, but as you said, the best is yet to come because this lead group will now head to uneven bars. And that's where we are right now, watching Wan Luo, the reigning Chinese national all-around champion for the past 2 years.
Watch the beautiful body positions that she's able to get into. Really nice leg form. Those toes are pointed. Legs are very extended. China does remarkable work on the bars in those spinning elements. Great extension on the release skill. right in the handstand. Oh, fantastic routine for her today.
She was expected to contend for an all-round medal at last year's World Championships, but she had a foot injury and competed just bars and beam.
Well, that dismounts exactly the way it's supposed to be done.
Here's Alyssa Downey, the 2017 European all-around champion. She missed last year's Worlds due to injury.
She said it's so good to be back at this World Championships. She finally feels like a gymnast again. Just was plagued by injuries all of last year. What I love about this gymnast is the way she works those bars. Watching the bottom, the way she pulls, and really gets a lot of torque. She's a natural swinger. She comes from a great pedigree. Her sister, Becky Downey, has made many an uneven bar final at World Championships. Remember, this is her first big competition back since being injured all of last year. And she has unlimited potential. This young lady will be in the mix as we come closer to the Tokyo Games. I was talking earlier about the torque on the bars. You see how she really pulls down in the bottom? That allows her to get great lift and great amplitude during her release skills. This element coming up here is her dismount. Slings it out slightly, but knows exactly where she is for that landing. The smallest of hops.
And you know, she hasn't had a lot of luck. She was poised to win Great Britain's highest ever all-around finish in Rio, but suffered that bad fall, remember, Kyle, on floor, and wasn't able to finish her routine. But now she's back and looking to make a charge at the podium here in Doha. And here's how things look after the first of 4 rotations. Morgan Hurd is in first place. You see Murakami second, Biles in third. Don't worry, Biles fans, she's not out of it. She's pretty much right where we expected her to be. Well, 2017 was a breakthrough season for Canada's Brooklyn Moores. She made it to the all-around and floor finals at Worlds in Montreal. Well, she made those 2 finals again this year, and we'll have more from her in just a moment. We are back in Doha with Road to the Olympic Games presented by RBC in Doha, the largest city in Qatar, with a population of close to 1.5 million people. And before we get back to the women's all-around competition, we wanted to update you on what happened in the team competitions. And these World Championships, Kyle, important because the top 3 teams win an automatic berth to the Tokyo Games, and Canada finished painfully close to the podium. As you see the U.S. team winning here.
The U.S. team dominated, but the Canadians had a historic performance, best ever 4th place finish as a team. They were led by veteran Ellie Black and Shalyn Olsen, who is a 2016 Olympian. But there's also the youth on the team, Brooklyn Moores, Anna Padarariu, and Sophie Marois. So there's a great balance of leadership and rookies, and this team has unlimited potential.
So they weren't part of the top 3. How do they qualify now for the Olympic Games in Tokyo?
At next year's World Championships, 2019 in Stuttgart, they need to be amongst the top 9 teams, and I think that is more than doable for Canada. They are looking fantastic.
Now, the U.S. team, led by, of course, Simone Biles, and the American women win their 6th world team title, and they won it. This is the astounding thing, by nearly 9 points. Huge margin.
Well, when you have Simone Biles on your team, you're starting the competition 2 touchdowns ahead of everybody else. They looked fantastic.
We got to feel sorry then for the Russians because they finished in 2nd place.
But that's what I predicted. The USA was going to dominate, and Russia looked fantastic. They had Angelina Melnikova here looking wonderful across all of the events, but they also had Aliyah Mustafina back and leading this team. She had a baby after Rio, and she's back in competition and looks fantastic.
And again, this really the podium, no surprises. We have a U.S. in first, the Russians in second, and then the Chinese in third. That's what you kind of predicted before this whole thing started.
Yes, it would have been nice for the Canadians to be able to push China off the podium to secure that Olympic berth.
That would have been something.
But all of these teams here, USA, Russia, and China, have now secured a minimum of 4 spots to those Tokyo Olympic Games. The pressure's off a bit.
Well, after the first rotation, Morgan Hurd sits in first place, Mai Murakami in second, Simone Biles in third place, and tied for fourth, Ellie Black. Now, we just finished watching Huan Luo on uneven bars, where she put up a big score as we expected. Beam also an apparatus where she should excel.
The Chinese are known for their work on the balance beam and on the uneven bars. They have such a great history of wonderful performers on these events. I would say the Chinese group of ladies right now is lacking in the power on vaulting and floor exercise, and that's an area that they're looking to improve upon.
But traditionally, that has not been a strength for them.
Traditionally, it has not. But interestingly, they've brought in Liang Chao, who was the coach of Gabby Douglas and Shawn Johnson. He has Chinese heritage, and they've brought him in to help bring this team up on those events. You can see the quality in the work. There's such a nice confidence. Small balance check there. The judges really want to see fluidity on this event. They don't want to see the choppy skills. They want to see everything flow together.
How do you think she did as far as the fluidity of the routine?
I think that the Chinese team on balance beam is one of the most beautiful teams. What I'd like to see them improve is that confidence and the ownership of each skill.
Here's Morgan Hurd on her second of 4 apparatus. And as we mentioned, Morgan is the reigning world champion. She loves uneven bars.
You know what else she loves? Going up first. She chose to go up first for Team USA on many of the apparatus. Likes being that one that they can set the tone with. This young lady exudes confidence to me. The way she stands just says, I'm going to hit. Zero question marks in that routine.
You can see why the 17-year-old qualified for the final in this event. Nicely done.
Morgan is best in competition when she's happy. You'll see her on the sidelines, smiling, giving hugs, dancing, giving high fives. That's when she's at her best. She's not a closed-minded kind of person. But what I like most about this young lady is her reliability. She is so trustworthy. She just hits her routines, and she's peaked for this World Championships. Wasn't so great 3 months ago, but no one needs to be afraid because she's gonna peak at the big meets when it really matters.
Well, she's capable of scores around 14 and a half, so in that range, and there's the scores there, as you can see, for Huan Luo. Well, here is a Canadian from Cambridge, Ontario, Brooklyn Moores.
And this young lady has made a name for herself, big international reputation. Last year, she won the Longines Prize for Elegance as the most elegant gymnast in the competition. And she's got a lot of power. Has performed this vault with the full twist in the past, but floor exercise is where this young lady really shines. Did qualify for the floor exercise final.
Her first apparatus today was beam. She struggled, scoring slightly more than 11 points, so things have not got off to a great start for Brooklyn A year ago in Montreal in the all-around final, she finished in 15th place, so she'll want to better that. Now here is the reigning Olympic champion, the three-time world champion, looking for a record 4th title, Simone Biles. And she was 3rd after that first rotation. She had a little struggle on the vault, which cost her.
But it didn't put her out of this competition, and this is the event she's most improved upon. You see the man to the left, that's Laurent Landy, and he coached Madison Koshin, a great bar worker for the US. He is now Simone Biles' coach. When she came back, her swinging technique was so much improved, and there's an extension in her shoulders that I didn't see before, and there's a confidence to her work. She's upgraded a lot of difficulty, Brenda, including this dismount. Check out the height right here. Double twisting, double back, awesome.
And this is the only event she has not won a world or Olympic medal on even bars.
Well, she's 2nd on this apparatus after the qualification in the final there. As I mentioned, when she came back, this was the event that looked the most improved, and it's because of the extension and all of her skills. She used to muscle through a lot of it. She is so strong, but now she's learned to swing. Here is the highlight of the routine. Look, just dropping out of the air, double twisting, double back. That is what gymnastics should look like right there.
So she'll be looking for a score in the high 14s.
She used to say bars was her worst event, and now it's become one of her best.
There you go, 14.725. Perfect rebound after that little bit of a struggle on the vault earlier. Mai Murakami, one of the contenders here as well. Well, remember, tomorrow, Road to the Olympic Games, our focus is going to be on the individual apparatus finals, and Canada has 4 athletes competing on 3 apparatus. Ellie Black is going to lead the charge on beam and vault. Can the Halifax gymnast win her first apparatus final title? Road to the Olympic Games continues with our coverage of the Artistic Gymnastics World Championships from Doha. We're midway through the 2nd rotation, and any surprises, Kyle, so far?
Well, Simone Biles usually is leading by a mile at this point in the competition, but with that fall on the vault, she's still kind of in the mix with the rest of the group.
Ela Chen is the reigning Asian Games all-around and beam champion, qualified 12th to this final. Now, Chen is a first-year senior, incredibly strong on bars and beam. She actually struggled, Kyle, though, on beam here in the preliminaries. So with a hit routine now, got to think her chances to move up in the rankings would improve.
She's a new senior, and being at the World Championships is different than any other junior meet you've ever been to. Right there, did a very veteran correction. Her body was completely off, pulled it back in line. But there's something to be said about that experience. Oh, great dismount. That's a triple twist. Done so well. I like this gymnast. You can see her potential.
Good score on beam, over 14 points. Close to 15, would probably win the beam final, the apparatus final, which we'll see tomorrow.
Here's where she made that back turn correction. You see her hips went slightly over to the side, but she pulled it back in. Didn't panic. Look at the quality of the work. Gets that head right back. Ideally, the back foot would touch the head. And this was the highlight of the routine to me, the triple twisting dismount. Cranks it all the way around. Very difficult to get those 3 twists in such little air time.
That is the best score that we've seen today. Momentarily moves her up into 5th position. Angelina Melnikova moves from one of her weaker events, the vault, to one of her strengths, bars. The 18-year-old is the reigning European silver medalist in this event.
Watch for those connecting elements. She did a full turn on top, right up to that high bar. Connecting those 2 skills together builds up that difficulty score. Nothing flashy, but very consistent. And that's the name of her game. She's an all-around athlete. She's good across all 4 pieces of apparatus. Right there is a connected element, 2 skills together. Works down to the low bar. This is one of my favorite skills. There is so much physics going on in that. How you pop off the low bar, do a half turn and catch the high bar again is incredible. She even has pink painted fingernails for the competition here today. The one criticism I have of this young lady is the form sometimes can be a little bit sloppy. The legs can come apart, and that's something she's going to be refining over the next couple of years. But congratulations to her on her much improved consistency.
Close to 14.5 points. Good mark. Keep her in contention for that overall title. Now this is where Nina Derval shines. She was tops in qualification on this event.
I love this routine. Right off the top, she's going to do a skill. It's called a Nabieva. And it is a huge element. I'll point it out. Right here, toes on the bar, in the laid out position. This routine has it all, the connections, the big difficulty value. Oh, everything right to the maximum extension. Great bar routine right there.
And we spoke about her height, that she's a little taller than most gymnasts, and just that accentuates that, the beauty of the body line.
Everything is just that much longer. What I like most about this routine is that she's not doing the stock element. She's adding the extra difficulty. This full twisting double back dismount. Watch the way she lands this. Gymnastics should be exactly like that. The feet did not move. She is the top Belgian athlete. Huge difficulty value.
Over
Big
15
score.
points.
Wow.
You don't see that very often, so a great second rotation for Nina. Now this is Ellie Downey, the 2017 European all-around champion, who missed, as we said earlier, missed last year's Worlds due to an injury.
She's getting back into the swing, or shall I say balance of things. There's a difference between training and competing. And it's easy to lose motivation if you're always injured. But she kept her head in the game. Oh, big balance check.
Sixth World Championship all-around finals. The highest ranking was 9th just last year.
The gymnasts are required to do a full turn minimum, and she does a double turn there. Very difficult skill.
Score for Alexei Ivan. On balance beam 13.366.
Hones it in for the dismount.
She looked like she was second guessing herself at points there. Back to her score in a moment, but let's go over to bars, and Mai Murakami, who sat in second place after the first rotation, posted a terrific vault score, fractions of a point ahead of favorite Simone Biles.
And this is not her forte. She jokes that she's short and her arms are short, and that's why she can't swing bars very well. But you'll see she's catching the bar really close on some of these elements. With bent arms, the judges want to see fully extended arms on the catch. Maybe not her forte, but she gets the job done today.
In
that score will
Montreal,
keep her in the mix.
in Montreal, you remember, Kyle, she was the top qualifier, but then had some trouble in the actual final itself. Did not win a medal, and there we see Alyssa Downey's score under 13 points. Mai finished in fourth place in Montreal, just off the podium. 13.5. What do you think about that score?
That's right where she should be on this event. For her to get close to that 14 is quite difficult. Her difficulty value is too low.
This is Melanie de Jesus dos Santos on the beam, the reigning European all-around champion and floor champion, qualified to today's all-around final in 7th place. Montreal, she was 5th.
This young lady is the total package. She's very powerful, great tumbler. She's a great swinger on uneven bars. She's got that performance quality and the nice acrobatics, like this back handspring layout. I see her climbing up the ladder. When she can put it all together, she is a medal threat.
Is her 6th World Championships.
The French team spent some time at Simone Biles' gym in the fall. Simone's coaches, Laurent and Cécile, are former French national team athletes, so they went and trained with Simone, and I think Melanie said that influenced her. This jump is on the side, which makes it even more difficult. Almost missed her foot on that dismount. My goodness, my heart jumped out of my chest there.
That was
That's
close.
scary.
Be able to see it again on replay, hopefully.
The judges are rewarding these complicated mounts. The front flip on, the back flip on. Very difficult, high difficulty level. Here's the look at the dismount. Let's see if we can see her feet. Not quite, but you can see just the left foot barely punched off. That's experience coming through there.
Under 14 points for Melanie as she completes the second of 4 rotations, and leading right now, Simone Biles, Morgan Hurd in second, Nina Derville in third, and Ellie Black. Wow, she had a problem on uneven bars.
Yeah, she did have a fall on uneven bars in that second rotation, and that dropped her quite far back.
Well, what can we say about the 21-year-old from Texas? That hasn't already been said. A win today, and Simone Biles makes gymnastics history, clinching a record 4th all-around title. She's halfway home with 2 apparatus to go.
Road to the Olympic Games full speed ahead at 5 p.m. Eastern today. World Cup short track speed skating from Calgary's Olympic Oval. Stephen Dubois, the young Canadian, has already posted a new national record in the men's 500 meters. Steve Armitage and Michael Gilday have the call. Plus, tomorrow, we'll vault into the final day of the World Artistic Gymnastics Championships from Doha. It's the apparatus finals. Canadian women involved in 3 of those finals, the vault, balance beam, and floor exercise. We'll have it from the Aspire Dome. Now back to the women's all-around with Brenda and Kyle.
And Scott, we wanted to update you on what happened earlier this week in the men's competition. Well, Zach Clay was one of 5 Canadian gymnasts who made the trip to Doha. And Kyle, it was a challenging week to say the least for the Canadian men.
The Canadian men ended up in 18th position after the team qualification, and that's 6 spots off from getting a full team to the Olympic Games. So they're going to have to up their game in the next year if they want to qualify a full team. A highlight for the Canadians was Renee Cornway, qualified to the all-around finals. Unfortunately, had an ab pull and had to pull out of that competition, but this team does have a lot of work to do over the next year.
The winner of the team event was China. The Chinese beat the Russians by fractions of a point. It was a close one. And in the event finals, Eleftherios Petrunius, the 2-time defending champion and 2016 Olympic champion on rings, nailed his routine. He was wonderful.
The new Lord of the Rings. He beat out Arthur Zanetti, 2012 Olympic champion. Eleftherios Petrunius is going to have a shoulder surgery after this. Max Whitlock, the Olympic champion, world champion on pommel horse, got beat out by Rotang Sho. And Kenzo Shirai from Japan was the one who everyone thought was going to win, but Arthur Delaloyan from Russia took the title on floor exercise, and he also won the men's all-around. There's a resurgence of the Russian men's program. They had 2 on the podium, first time since 1999 that they had a winner.
We are at the halfway point of this women's all-around final. The leader after the first of 2 rotations, surprise, surprise, Simone Biles. And Kyle, the U.S. have had a stranglehold on this women's all-around title, haven't they?
They sure have. This team has been so dominant, and amidst all the controversy that's going on with the American team, they still continue to dominate here at the World Championships.
You know, our researcher, Jen Isbister, pointed out that the point difference after qualification between Simone and second-place qualifier Morgan Hurd was 4.5 points. That's larger than the point difference between Hurd and the last-place qualifier. She is in a league of her own. She stumbled on vault a little bit earlier, but quickly rebounded with that great bars routine. Now on beam, another favorite of hers.
She moves with such speed in this routine. Oh, and she's off on the front half. Oh, that skill has been giving her problems. It's not her most consistent skill, but you don't see Simone Biles fall often. Now here's the conundrum here, Brenda. Simone Biles could dial down her difficulty. Look at the quality in which she does all of these elements. So yes, she could dial down the difficulty, but she's choosing not to. She doesn't want to win by taking it easy. She's pushing the envelope. Of course, she doesn't want to win with falls, but she still could, because that difficulty value is so high. Take a look at her face. What she will be doing for the rest of this routine is called Mad Beam. She has a very high standard and expectation of herself.
Wow, another uncharacteristic mistake, and just look at her body language. Not happy with that performance.
She has no more titles that she really needs to win. She's won it all. She is the best gymnast in the world. She is the most capable gymnast in the world. Look at how fast she moves through that. It looks like normal speed in slow motion. But this element here, I think that after this World Championships, they will be ditching it. It will be out of the routine. She lands with her chest too low on it anyways, but she's been pushing that difficulty value. She's the only one in this competition doing that full twisting double back, and she has room for more.
But you know, she took a year off right after the Olympics and took some time to kind of rejuvenate, but look at the score. That is not a Simone Biles score.
But she did take that year off, but she's come back better. She's added elements to her vault, to her uneven bars, to all of her routines. So she still is the best in the world in my mind. That difficulty value gets her far ahead.
This is not a great apparatus for Li Chen. The 16-year-old prefers bars and beam to floor and vault. She was 34th on floor in qualification. She'd love to have a score over 13 points right now.
She's a twister, opens up with that nice triple full. Good routine, lacking in the difficulty in the tumbling. You'll see athletes like Simone Biles doing double flips in the straight body position with 2 twists. Her dismount was a double backflip in the tucked position.
Can you be a contender for a medal in all around with a routine like that, though?
I think it's very difficult. The difficulty value in gymnastics is so coveted now. The more you do, the higher your score is going to be. But what I do admire about this young lady is her quality of work. She's not pushing that difficulty value. Simone Biles will have somewhere in that 6.8 range in comparison. She'll be 2 points higher right off the start. But what she does do, she does very well.
Angelina Melnikova sat in 4th place heading into this 3rd of 4 rotations. Beam has treated her well over the years.
Canada's Brooklyn Moores won the Longines Prize for Elegance last year, and Angelina won it this year. She has a very nice presence when she's out on the competition floor. Looking rock solid here today on the balance beam. This young lady can sometimes get in her own head and start to doubt her ability. But what I've seen from her here is that fight, the attack on those landings. Well, this has been the best beam routine I've seen from her in international competition. Excellent job.
Kyle, it looks like she really believes in herself, at least on this apparatus today. Wonderfully done.
Although she admits that she has a complicated relationship with me. Well, total confidence today.
It's so awesome when you see an athlete that you admire be able to put it together in the big meet. She's long been touted as one of the best gymnasts in the world. Just hasn't been able to put it together, but here today she is looking just fantastic. Watch on this dismount, the way she only takes that small hop, chest is nice and high on the landing.
She had the big smile before she even fully landed. She knew it was a keeper, and she's going to get a big score here. She was in 4th place heading into this 3rd of 4 rotations and 13.5 points.
13.4. Enter your 18th year champion.
Ian Derville getting ready for her 3rd of 4 apparatuses here. Well, she's the reigning world all-around champion, a fan favorite at home in the U.S. and abroad. The 17-year-old from Delaware looks for her 2nd gold medal in Doha when our coverage of the artistic gymnastics World Championships continues with Morgan Hurd. Road to the Olympic Games is brought to you today by RBC. Well, Doha, as mentioned, located on the coast of the Persian Gulf, site of this year's Artistic Gymnastics World Championships. And let's go back to the Aspire Dome and the women's all-around competition. We're in the middle of the third of 4 rotations, and Nina Derval sat third after 2 rotations, about, Kyle, a half point back of the leader Simone Biles. And Nina is rewriting the gymnastics history books in her country.
Certainly the best gymnast to come out of Belgium. She has a great opportunity to win the uneven bars world championship title, but she's also going to be featured in the balance beam final. She's having a wonderful world championships. Very consistent, just going about her business. One of my favorite stories about Nina is her grandfather. His name's Grandpa Benny, and he has a tattoo on his shoulder with the Olympic rings and his granddaughter's name, Nina. He's become quite famous in the gymnastics community. He's the biggest fan of his granddaughter.
How hard is that to do?
I have never tried it. I think my knee would pop right out, but incredibly difficult. She'll do it again. It builds up big difficulty value. There's the acrobatic skills, Brenda, that are more flashy, but those dance elements also are difficult and contribute to that difficulty value. How many times can I say difficult? Interesting dismount, the gainer with a full twist.
A year ago, she became the first Belgian gymnast to win a world championship medal, and certainly with that beam routine, she's in the medal mix here in this all-around competition.
Well, I would put this young lady on my team, my fantasy gymnastics team. She is just solid as a rock. Really difficult mount, that back round off to the layout. There's a small adjustments throughout the routine, but she stays on. She's not doing the flashy stuff like Simone Biles, but she's very consistent. 13.7 as a score. Around 14 is a very good score, so she's right in that range.
Mai Murakami sat in 6th place after the second rotation, and this is usually a pretty good event for her. But Kyle, if you remember, she fell in this apparatus at Worlds last year, and as a gymnast, how hard is that to forget?
Well, you never forget those moments when you made the mistakes, but what you do is you learn from them. And I can guarantee you, in the training for the past year, she has been putting herself in pressure sets, situations where they try to recreate this world championship pressure. To do that, they'll get the whole gym to stop and watch her do a routine in training.
Italy, it's a big double straight dismount. Off of the bars. Flourishes high score for Flavia Serrano.
She says the Tokyo Olympic Games are what's driving her. She wants to be there. She wants to compete in front of the home crowd. And I have to say, Japan is wild for gymnastics. It is going to be crazy in that building. Another thing I admire about this young lady is her competitive nature. She is so friendly. She is the athlete on the sidelines, high-fiving and hugging all of her competitors. She's just got a good presence.
She's put herself in position for a medal here in Doha. The disappointment of finishing 4th a year ago in Montreal.
Well, those demons sure didn't live on from Montreal. She totally rocked that routine. Great split position. Judges want to see it get over the 180 degrees, and she does that. Much like Ellie Black, she plays a leadership role amongst the Japanese team. Much like Ellie Black does for Canada, rather.
She
there's
was
an example of that respect and that friendliness. She's just such a bubbly, smiley personality on the sidelines.
Little more than 13.5 points, giving her close to 42 at this point with one event left to come, and that's the strength for her. It is floor. Now, this is Jude Barbosa, her first major competition since the Rio Olympics. She injured her foot in the all-around final in Rio and then injured her ankle at last year's Brazilian National Championships.
Well, she has been around since 2007. That was her first World Championships in Stuttgart, Germany. And there's been a resurgence of this Brazilian team. They're always up and down, but they have Valeri Liukin, who's the father of Nastia Liukin, also was the national team coach for the U.S. until he moved on. He's working with the Brazilian team, and they were very close to contention for a podium finish. Had a total meltdown on bars, but I see this team being a threat over the next couple of years. And Jaje is going to be one of the leaders of that.
Here's a look at Morgan Hurd of the U.S. from a year ago in Montreal. We all remember this well. She won the women's all-around title, edging out Ellie Black of Canada. But at that competition, there was no teammate, Simone Biles, to challenge her. But what a moment it was for the, at that time, 16-year-old.
She has her braces off now. She tweeted about that. She was so happy. She's really matured through this past year. Seems to feel like she belongs a lot more on this big stage.
Sits in second place, 0.3 of a point back of Simone. Did I mention she's the reigning world silver medalist on beam?
Small balance check on that ultra difficult standing flip with a full twist. Standing back full. Oh my goodness. She touches the beam. That's not a fall, but half a point will be taken off for that. I've never seen her make that mistake.
She struggled on the apparatus, though, in qualification.
Well, they say champions can put mistakes out of their mind and continue on, and that's what she seems to be doing here. Look at the way she holds her body. It's with total confidence. She's got great posture. Beautiful. Switch to ring. That's where the head goes back. Now she is capable of doing the full twisting double back dismount. Let's see if she does it. Sticks with the double pike, and what a landing!
She turned that ship around.
And that's the name of the game in this sport of gymnastics. When you have a mistake, it's not over. You have to It's okay, we still have floor, Simone said. They know that going into floor exercise, it's their strongest event. Right here off the top, that skill is one of the most difficult ones in the code of points, the standing back full. Leg lifts. There are some deductions built in on that, but look at the toes. That's where she had to touch that balance beam, unfortunately. But what, to me, is so amazing about this athlete was the fact that she had the mistakes off the top, and she finished off strong.
Simone Biles, the leader right now.
Her and Simone have been seen on the sidelines at this World Championships doing little dances as the rotation song goes. It's been really fun to watch.
Needs bigger time to complete both saltos in the pike position. Far more difficult to do.
Is that how you land your double pikes?
Something like that.
They're all taking it in stride.
Here again is Melanie de Jesus dos Santos, the reigning European all-around champion and floor champion.
She is power personified. She is so rhythmical. This is one of my favorite routines in the world right now.
Real attitude, fun to watch.
That is a great piece of music and awesome choreography. I feel like I know her personality just from watching her do that routine, and that's where that artistry comes in.
That score will not hurt her as we head into the final rotation. And here's Morgan Hurd's score under 13. She did have some early troubles.
Some mistakes there. The execution score in that 7.5 range.
So Biles in first, Nina Derval in second, and then Melnikova third. Look at Ellie Black in ninth. Had an okay beam score, but the fall on uneven bars means she will not be on the podium this year at the World Championships. Well, Japan's Mai Murakami doesn't want a repeat of what happened to her at last year's Worlds in Montreal. The 22-year-old just finished off the podium. Question now is, can she keep the momentum going here in Doha as we move to the final rotation of the day?
Meanwhile, back to the World Gymnastics Championships from Qatar. Brenda Irving with the call alongside Olympic champion Kyle Schufeld.
Andy, this is it, the final rotation of the day. The top group is on floor, but before we go there, let's go to the vault. And Yila Chen, who currently sits in sixth place, and Kyle, she needs a lot of things to go right for her if she's going to move up, and that means other people faltering.
She does have a lower degree of difficulty on this vault. Does the simple full twist. The best athletes in the world are doing the double twist or the 2.5. But again, I go back to the quality of this young lady's work. What she does might not be the most difficult, but it is beautiful and exquisite.
Just to update people on the Canadians, Ellie Black is in ninth place right now. She had an okay beam score, but then fell on uneven bars, and that really hurt her. Brooklyn Moore is heading into this final rotation, sat in 18th place.
Those legs are glued together, stick straight. You know she's working on the double at home. It's just not quite ready to put on this hard landing.
Next, we're going to head over to the floor, and Angelina Melnikova, who sits in third spot. She performed, Kyle, a great floor routine in qualification the other day, finishing third, so we're going to see her again in the apparatus floor final.
And after the balance beam routine that we saw her perform, one of the best ones of her competitive career, she must be riding high heading into this final apparatus.
Next competitor on floor, third after 3 rotations, from Russia, Angelina Melnikova.
Her most difficult tumbling pass will come up right off the top. Full twisting double layout. Beautiful. Steps out of bounds. That'll be 1/10 off of that execution score.
That was okay, but the problem for her is that, you know, there are some great floor workers still to come. Remember, floor is where the leaders are right now.
She started this routine off with that beautiful full twisting double layout. She gets the full twist done in the first half and then arches back on the second. Really great technique there. Second pass is a double layout. You see the knees are slightly bent and she does take that step out of bounds. What this young lady needs to do now, she's learned how to compete. Now she needs to refine the small details. And I know that she's going to be going back into the gym motivated after this World Championships to do just that. Look at how close she gets that leg right up to her nose on the double spin.
Split. Double pirouette.
This was the small hiccup just at the end. Chest was too far down on the landing.
Her score in qualification was 14 points, and you see there she doesn't reach that mark.
12.66.
And again, this is a tough one because there's some great floor workers still to come. Now here is Irina Alexeyeva.
She's a new member of this Russian team. In fact, she trains out of Texas at World Olympic Gymnastics Academy, owned by Valery Liukin. She has Russian citizenship, grew up in Moscow, and at 7 years old moved to America, but she has been a very consistent performer in the all-around and contributed to a European title for the team, and here's second place.
Competed for Russia the first time at this year's European Championships. Now, Belgium's Nina Derval is still in the mix to win a medal. Her problem is that Morgan Hurd and Mai Murakami are great at this event. She's good.
She's very good, but doesn't have the big tumbling skills, but where she excels in this event is in the performance quality. The Belgian team as a whole is known for their creativity.
And what a lot of people like about her routine is that it really tells a story. She's so emotive.
It's the small things, the connecting with the audience with her eyes, the facial expressions.
But does that get you many points?
Well, there is an artistry value that the judges are evaluating. I don't think they're critical enough on it. This routine should be getting virtuosity in terms of that, because she really does show off the expression. And that's hard to do when you're also focused on getting credit and value for all of these difficult jumps and the tumbling skills. Here, if you like it, then you better put a medal on it. But certainly, the top athletes in the world would perform that with a double twist, and she does the single full twist, but nobody else is pretending to be a bird and whistling during their routine, and I see a lot of value in that, because this is what gymnastics is. It's artistry meets athleticism, and she shows that off quite exquisitely.
She certainly does. But that score, Kyle, 13.3, probably not going to do it.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Now here is Mai Murakami, the reigning world champion on this apparatus floor. She was 5th after rotation 3 and is finishing with her strong suit. Now, she's 7/10 of a point out of first place. Can she catch Biles?
Simone Biles has just huge difficulty in the routine, but so does Mai. She is the world champion from last year on this event, and that's a stumble out there that was supposed to be a quadruple turn. She'll only get credit for the triple. I have to say, when I watch this routine, I imagine a bunch of people in a mosh pit around the floor exercise, because it gets pretty rock and roll.
Well, maybe the gold medal is out of reach, depending what happens. Now, Simone Biles, she will go last in this competition. Last up.
Oh, feeling
She's
all
upset.
of them. I think she's pretty upset about that fall on the turn. Here's where that happened. You see the foot just starts getting stuck, and she's even wearing it's a rhythmic gymnastics slipper on her foot to make it easier to turn on this carpet, but sometimes your toes can get caught up in it. But the tumbling in this routine was excellent. She was fighting for the landings. The deduction on that turn really isn't that big. It'll be a couple of tenths off, but she has a nice difficulty value from the dance elements and from the tumbling, from great connections like that, the 2.5 twists to full.
14.1 and 9 Murakami qualification once again.
Well, she has had 12 months now to think about almost finishing on the podium in Montreal in the all-around competition. There's Ellie Black, who finished silver last year. This score will be important for her. 14.0.
And that'll do it. That difficulty value, 5.7, is quite high.
That will momentarily move her up into first place. Tears of joy now. There's Simone Biles. She'll be on floor when we return to Doha, the quadruple Olympic gold medalist. Well, she can go down as the greatest gymnast, male or female, of all time. Can she win a dozen world titles and become the first to clinch a record 4th all-around women's title? We'll find out next when we return. We are down to the final routines of the afternoon. The leader at the moment, Mai Murakami, who has just gone on floor. She can now finish no lower than third, just 2 to go. Simone Biles will go last and is looking to become the first woman to win 4 world all-around titles. But standing in her way, this woman, Morgan Hurd, who sat 4th after 3 rotations. She was last year's winner of this competition, and this is her strength, Kyle.
She'll set the tone with this very first tumbling pass. Oh, look at the fight. She's leaving no points on the table for those judges. Oh, yes.
Wonderful routine. But can she catch Japan's Mai Murakami, who right now is in the lead? A reminder, one more floor final to go, and that will be Simone Biles.
We'll talk about seizing an opportunity. This young lady had that mistake on the balance beam, here deeply focused before the routine. She is a true champion, showing aggression on all of the landings. That, to me, was the most impressive part about this routine. Watch the way she lands this double layout. She throws those arms back as if to say, I am not moving. She emoted, she felt the music. She was fierce. At this World Championships, the athletes complained that the floor was a bit hard. She can do a double twist in that tumbling pass, but opted to lower that difficulty. But this, Brenda, this was the highlight of the routine. Double pikes should always be landed exactly like that. Great job,
Mai
Morgan Hurd.
Murakami had a score of 14. That just a little shy, 13.866. Now let's head over to the vault, and Melanie De Jesus dos Santos will not be a threat to make it onto the podium, but watch out, 2 years from now in Tokyo, you bet she will be.
Keep this young lady on your radar. She's got the goods. She is the total package. She gets great explosion off of that vaulting table. She really does remind me a lot of Simone Biles. Disappointed here because she was very close. That top group is so close. 55.599.
Now our final competitor of the day, Simone Biles. This is it. She's looking to make more gymnastics history now. Wants to be the first woman to ever win 4 all-around titles. But look at her resume right now. Look at everything she's done.
And now it's not about any more titles, Brenda. It's about pushing her limits, pushing the limits of the sport, moving that needle forward. And this young lady has improved since the Olympic Games in Rio.
This is her target score, what she has to have, just below 14 points if she wants to win this title. She's capable of scores close to 15.
Well, she hasn't had the ideal day, but this floor routine is like fireworks. This is a brand new opening pass for her. Watch the power. Oh, too much power. Most of the other competitors started their floor routines with this pass. Simone Biles ends with it.
Kyle, her moves, her routines just take your breath away, don't they?
They really do. She is the most naturally gifted athlete in the world at this time. She was made for gymnastics.
At this time?
Well, okay, ever. Ever. She's the greatest athlete ever. She is so made for gymnastics. That natural ability. She's quick twitch. She's powerful. She's so athletic. She's doing things that nobody else in the world can even attempt. Everyone else would be taken out on a stretcher, but Simone Biles launches this 10 feet in the air, double twisting, double layout, and has too much power. She could fit a whole nother twist in there. And this pass here is her epitomis skill. It's called the Biles on-floor exercise. She has one of these skills as well on the vault, which she did fall on here. But even with those falls, Brenda, I have to say, Simone Biles is going to be the most disappointed out of everyone. But her difficulty value is so much superior to everybody else in the world that she has the advantage right off the top. And that's why she continues to win world championships. She is the most capable athlete in the world.
All she needs is a score over 14 points to be the only gymnast ever to win 4 women's all-around titles. She's got a look at monster score of 15. Big hug from her teammate Morgan Hurd, and there's the silver medalist, Mai Murakami, the first silver medalist for Japan in the women's all-around competition. Best performance ever for that country. And as you see there, Ellie Black down in 12th place. She obviously disappointed with that Brooklyn Moores down from her performance a year ago in Montreal.
Well, Ellie Black said coming into this World Championships, it was all about the team, and they did have that historic 4th place finish. What about these two young ladies, Simone Biles and Morgan Hurd, leading the way for American gymnastics? Welcome back, Simone. Gymnastics loves you.
Well, it's going to be interesting. The Olympics now less than 2 years away. The Americans just look so dominant. Well, we're going to see Canadian dominance maybe in the apparatus finals tomorrow. 4 Canadians on 3 apparatus. We're looking forward to it. We will see you tomorrow.
Earlier on Road to the Olympic Games, Natalia Zabiako and Alexander Enbert of Russia skated to the top of the podium in the pairs competition, while teammate Alina Zagitova struck gold for the women at the Grand Prix of Finland in Helsinki. In Doha, gymnastics superstar Simone Biles returned in a triumphant way, claiming her 4th career women's all-around title at the Gymnastics World Championships. And up next, Olympic champion Samuel Girard hits the ice as the short track speed skating season kicks off in Calgary, where a strong Team Canada looks to get off to a flying start.